What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm Howard Bender. I got Andrew Cooper here by my side. And oh, baby, do we have just, picking up the pieces from NFL Week 6 and talking waiver wire action here for NFL Week 7. That is the focus of today's show. If you guys have waiver questions in the chat, add players to add, players to drop. That's what we're covering. Trade questions tomorrow, lineup questions on Thursday. We're focusing on the waiver wire, who to bid on, how much to bid on them, and we'll just kind of make our way through there. Coop, my man, what's going on with you? How did you survive week number 6, and are you ready to just kind of make it rain at Club FAAB here in week 7?
Yeah. How did I survive? Just barely, man. So yeah, this is mid swing. So many bye weeks this week, man. We talked about on the show before this that they keep bragging. The commercial comes up the way they're bragging about their algorithm that sets the schedule and stuff.
Yeah.
6 bye weeks this week and 0 next week. What's up with that algorithm?
Right. And 2 this past week too, right?
Right.
2, 6, 0. Does that make any sense to anybody?
It's on the algorithm, man. I do get one. Week 12 being Thanksgiving. I get it. Okay. You want to have a full slate of games on Thanksgiving? I'm okay with that. But this week, I really cannot figure out what the point is. What exactly is the point? So I don't know, man. And also the week 14 buys, I could do without too. But whatever, man. Whatever. They don't care about us, Howard. They don't care about fantasy football, even though we're the most diehard fans there are. But
right. The irony of that, right? The bread and butter of support for the NFL. I mean, yes, everybody loves their football. But the way the fantasy industry has helped, maintain that, not just maintain it, but like risen it in status that everybody's in on it right now. I'm sitting here, right? I've got a guest coming on the Fantasy Alarm Show this coming Friday, right? Who's 12 years old, and he's a fantasy football maniac. And I mean, you want to talk about this kid's quoting Madden ratings to me left and right. And I'm like, listen, I'm not a gamer, but I'm in for you joining the show this week. So that's going to be on Friday's show. You guys are going to meet Emmett Scott, the 12-year-old prodigy of fantasy football, right? Like all of a sudden, Hutch Brown is aging out for us.
Yeah,
that's it.
He's too old now. He can drive. Right? Once he got his driver's permit, I was like, this kid, he's washed up, dude. He's washed. Yeah, and I do. Hopefully you don't give Emmett my job the way you did Ian Fish when he came on the show. Right, that was.
How do we not give Ian Fisher a job? That kid's another one. I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to do like an entire special week of just fantasy analysts, best fantasy analysts under the age of 18, right? And just kind of lay it all out there. Yeah. Ian Fish, Emmett Scott. There's my buddy Richard Helguera from Chicago. He's 9 years old. That kid's light years ahead of everybody. He was in a league last year. I kid you not. The reason I know him is because he called me up and he was like, everybody keeps saying take running backs. I have the first pick in the draft. I really want to take Justin Jefferson. Should I? I was like, I love you.
Yes, dude. There's another family of them that we had on the on Lightning Round last year, or might have been 2 years ago. They all play in the Scott Fish Bowl. And there's 2 daughters, and they both finished higher than their dad, right? So it's like crazy out there, man. It's crazy in these streets. Fantasy football, getting it done. And I'll tell you right now, NFL, I'll tell you right now, if there were no fantasy football enthusiasts, how many fewer eyeballs would you have on this Saints Jaguars game on Thursday with a 38-point over-under, right? Come on now. We're driving the car here. We're driving.
Everybody's tuning in. They want to see what's going on with the Jags. What, is Trevor Lawrence going to be there? He's banged up, dealing with a knee injury. But how many times, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, like kids are just flocking to the TV to watch these guys play. And it's all because of fantasy.
100%.
All because of
Alvin
fantasy.
Kamara, man. He's the biggest example, right? Like a guy, 3rd round pick, explodes on the scene, crazy popular, and it's all fantasy football.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, we embrace it. We love it. It's why we have jobs right now anyway. So let's kind of get to the action here today. Like I said, we're going to focus here on NFL Week 7 waiver wire pickups. We're going to go over some of the news and notes around the NFL. We're going to dive neck deep into the running back situation this week because this is going to be horrendous to navigate. But let's just we'll start off with the original. First and foremost, yes, as Coop said, we have 6 teams on bye. Bengals, Cowboys, Titans, Jets, Panthers, and Texans. So right off the bat, we're losing a ton of talent on the board. And let's start off at the quarterback position, because not only do you Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, like you're replacing those guys. And we're just finding out now that Anthony Richardson is likely to miss the remainder of the season.
Killing me.
So it's all Gardner Minshew in Indianapolis this year, the rest of the season.
Right. It's bad, man. And not to mention, like, you look around at the teams that are playing, we don't know if Deshaun Watson's going to play. We don't know if Mac Jones is going to play the entire. He's not going to play. We don't know if Kyler Murray's out. So we have Joshua Dobbs. We just watched just this weekend, there was no Daniel Jones either. So what you're picking from, I look around and I'm like, geez, Kenny Pickett doesn't look so bad all of a sudden, right? Like some of these options, man, are so bad in terms of backups. Like I have trouble looking at Mac Jones and ranking anyone behind him because he might not play the whole game, right? He's been benched twice. So it's pretty scary. Jimmy Garoppolo might not play. It's like, good Lord.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we're looking at this week. This is what we're looking at for this week at the quarterback position. Tyson Bagent, PJ Walker, Gardner Minshew, possibly Tyrod Taylor, CJ Beathard possibly on Thursday night.
That's right, yeah.
Either Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell, and then possibly even Malik Cunningham.
Gardner Minshew on the list is kind of a stud. I'm looking around. I'm like, CJ Beathard, dude, are you kidding? CJ Beathard gets the Saints? No way, dude. Yeah, it's like, geez.
Actually, you know what? This is gonna sound really gross and grimy. I don't mind PJ Walker this week.
Yeah. He's kind of fun to watch, at least.
Not a
Same
bad
with
matchup.
Dobbs too.
I mean, that Colts secondary is not strong, and the offensive line can definitely withstand that pass rush from the Indianapolis Colts. So PJ Walker could be a waiver guy.
Yeah.
Like if you're struggling at the QB position, and we'll talk more about this as the show goes on, and we'll try and rank these knuckleheads for you and see what we can do. But right now, Gardner Minshew, PJ Walker, those are 2 names that are really standing out.
Yeah,
they're really popping here
in
Week 7.
They do kind of pop, dude. I mean, I like Pittman. I like Josh Downs. I don't know, and yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy where we're at, dude. We got to navigate people through this, But no, the thing is, it's like he's gonna face the Browns, which that stinks. Yeah. So
Minshew that he's facing the Browns. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go to PJ Walker. Just flip
you
it right over there,
man. I kind of like it. Tyson Bagent. I mean, the thing is, he's a player that he's like a Bailey Zappi almost, where you go around to the Browns circles, Browns Twitter, Bears Twitter, Bears subreddit, and he kind of has this like underground following of people that just love him. He popped a little bit in the preseason, though. This past week, very first play out there, you saw what happened, right? Fumble, touchdown the other way. So not ideal, but there are people that like Tyson Bagent. I'm willing to consider it, definitely in Superflex. I mean, but I'm willing to consider it. I'm willing to think about it.
You keep thinking about it.
You're trying not to think about it. I mean, he's got the Raiders. I'm
really trying not to think about it. Yeah. I do have to make a QB decision in 2 leagues of mine that I have to like kind of figure out what I want to do. Especially it's more bye week related than injury related, but even so, to know that this is the waiver pool that I'm fishing in, it's just, I mean, this is a horrendous. I need like a koi pond. I don't need like just an entire pool to jump in.
This week is something that you've preached a long time. That is a very difficult. There are mental blocks in fantasy football. One of the biggest one, obviously, is if you have a really good player who's playing bad, it's so hard to drop them. Mm-hmm. One of the great mental blocks in fantasy football that you've harped on time and time again, you do not have to start a quarterback in your super flex spot. It is a flex spot. And I'll tell you what, the line where I draw the line on starting a guy off my bench versus starting a quarterback this week, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are probably going to be below that line. There's a lot of leagues where I look around in Superflex and I'm looking at like Christian Kirk that's might be on my bench. I'm starting Christian Kirk over like half of the quarterbacks this week, right? Guys like that may or may not be in your lineup most
Well, I
weeks.
don't know. Christian Kirk without Trevor Lawrence. Are you in on Christian Kirk with CJ Beathard under center?
So the thing with Christian Kirk this week, where I do like Christian Kirk a lot, especially on Thursday, is that Alontae Taylor has been the worst slot corner in the league. It's
Mm-hmm.
not close. He let up another touchdown this week to Robert Woods. And so that is the one thing where I look and say, whoever's going to be running from the slot this week, I think CJ Beathard can handle that. I think CJ Beathard can handle getting it to that one player. So, but yeah, I mean, Zay Jones is definitely off the table if he's playing with CJ Beathard, right? Like I can't imagine any pinpoint bombs being thrown down the sideline, right? So
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, let's say hi to everybody who's in the chat right now. Rex Timotheus, what's going on? I love Mondays too, except today's Tuesday, which I love even more than Mondays because it's like the day after. This is like, sifting through the rubble that was the week before and like trying to be like, oh, there's still one alive over in here, and do that. He says on waivers, most of the normal guys everyone has already talked to are mostly there. What's the temperature on Evans right now? I'm going to assume that he means Zach and not Mike Evans. So, I mean, let's dive in right now to the running back position because this is ugly beyond ugly. Now, first and foremost, Kyle Shanahan says that McCaffrey hopefully will play in week 7. I hate hearing that on a day that, you got to file waiver claims on potentially Jordan Mason or Elijah Mitchell. But, that's a situation that we're going to kind of dive into here. But let's start with the Rams. Let's answer Rex's thing. Sarah Barshop from ESPN believes that Zach Evans will likely be the Rams starting running back in week 7. But Coop, I sent you a text yesterday as soon as I heard the Kyron Williams news, because I knew this question was going to come up. I said, who's the better pass blocker? Right. Is it Zach Evans or is it Royce Freeman? Because that is a very, very telling thing, especially when you're dealing with the Rams who have a huge passing attack. Kyron Williams is a solid pass blocker, and you don't want to take too big of a step back. If you've got a solid pass blocker. Royce Freeman's still on the practice squad, but I'm betting that he's getting promoted this week.
Yeah, I think he gets promoted. And people, if you remember, Royce Freeman, that's like the one thing he actually does well. And he does it so well that when the Broncos had Phillip Lindsay, and Phillip Lindsay was running for back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, the thing holding him back was that he couldn't pass block, and Royce Freeman got all those snaps. There's a reason that certain guys, you look around at Darrell Williams, for instance, for years and years, get picked up by different teams when they needed somebody. It's usually because they're cerebral players that can pick up pass blocking schemes, that can learn things quickly. And there's a reason Royce Freeman still keeps getting picked up. It's not because he's an efficient player. It's probably because he's going to take those snaps. So that is going to be the risk there. If the game goes well for the Rams, it's going to be probably a good game for Zach Evans. If it doesn't, then you might see more Royce Freeman, because protecting Matthew Stafford, a guy who's super injury prone, is everything right now for this team, because the game plan is throw it to Cooper Kupp number 1 or throw it to Cooper Kupp number 2. That's the whole plan. And Cooper Kupp number 2 obviously being Puka Nacua. So I don't know. I could see I think Zach Evans is going to score more fantasy points, but I'm not dropping a big bag of FAAB on him because we don't know for sure.
No, we don't know for sure. And I'll tell you what, let's just open up the door of speculation.
Hey, Creek.
Hello, Leonard Fournette. Welcome. Oh, no. Welcome to Alarm Fantasy Football. Right. Hi, guys. I'm Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette.
Are you picking me up on FAAB this week?
It's like the meme of the guy behind the tree rubbing his hands together. That's Leonard Fournette right now. Like, yeah, it's time. So we'll see. I mean, if a team's willing to pay him, then I'm interested, because that guy, say what you will, he's good out of the backfield. He's good catching the ball out of the backfield, right? Like we've seen him with Tom Brady, million receptions out of the backfield. So keep an eye on that. Maybe a Steph. I mean, are you rostering him anywhere?
Am I rostering Fournette anywhere? No, I don't have any Fournette.
Yeah, I mean, I have him in a best ball league or two, but I just don't have roster spots for him.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm probably sure. I mean, I haven't looked at what his ownership percentages are, let's say on Yahoo or ESPN, but I'm assuming that it's going to be under 5. Well, I mean, maybe not ESPN and Yahoo because you can take a guy like Fournette and stash him on your IR because it's like the wild wild west over on those two websites. You can pretty much do whatever you want.
Right.
But in most leagues, no, that's not the way it goes. So. Oh man.
It says over here, I'm checking Yahoo real quick. It says it does say 2%, and it says that number has trended down. So the people that he was rostered in a lot of leagues, but people have been dropping him. There's a lot of people going on IR and stuff. So also in notes that say that he's healthy and he's ready to play. So we'll see.
All right. Oh, look at that. Dustin Ludke's in the chat. Screw you with your hockey talk, but I do like the fact that it's Bajent. Bajent, as in secret Bajent.
Bajent, man. Dude, so Dustin.
Oh, aren't you a little young for that song? Do you actually know that song?
I listened to Ray Flowers. So I have no choice but to be brute force attacked with James Bond and spy movie talk. So yeah, that's my that old crew there. So
that whole crew.
Right.
All right, let's run through some questions here as we go through it, because I imagine that all of your waiver questions are going to bleed us into who are we starting off the Bears backfield this week, and is it Jordan Mason or Elijah Mitchell if Christian McCaffrey can't go, and what do we do with Craig Reynolds this week? David Montgomery on the shelf, right? I mean, come on.
Craig Reynolds, DFS play 100%, right?
Well, all right. So what I love about this is that we've heard now. So I sat there during the preseason and I told everybody, and this isn't me taking a victory lap. This is just me saying, I looked in the preseason. I looked at what Dan Campbell likes to do. You look at what his trends were last year with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. I got a fly in here again that is absolutely mind-boggling.
Every Tuesday, dude.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's like every Tuesday I get the one fly who's like bzz, bzz, bzz. Anyway, I said this during the preseason that just based off of what I saw with the way everything was handled with DeAndre Swift, this year I was very much in on David Montgomery, especially because he was like a 5th rounder, a 6th rounder. Like people weren't touching him because everybody was pushing Jahmyr Gibbs's ADP all the way up to as high as the late 2nd round. And Campbell this past week comes out and says, it was the week before actually, because it was before Montgomery got injured, but he said, my guy I go with is the guy who I know can handle 20 to 25 carries. The other guy, meaning Gibbs, is the complementary running back. And that's, so now I look at this and I say, well, does Dan Campbell, did he change his mind? Can Craig Reynolds handle 20 to 25 carries in Dan Campbell's opinion? And does that leave Jahmyr Gibbs as, like, again, just the side piece?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've seen this as a Patriots fan. I've seen the other guy is a very valuable player, and this is a team that used the same setup. But I'll tell you what, time and time again, the starting running back would get hurt for the New England Patriots, and that didn't make the other guy, James White, into a full-time back. It never did, and it never did for Duke Johnson. It never did for Giovanni Bernard. Like these teams, when they have that setup and they like that setup, and they have a Craig Reynolds, they don't all of a sudden say, well, let's just use this guy till he gets hurt, especially when that guy's been banged up. So I think it's going to be Craig Reynolds in those short yard situations for sure. And we know that, Jared Goff might do a QB sneak here or there, but he's not doing any sort of design runs. So when it gets down in that area, it could be Craig time. So yeah, I'm in.
It should be Craig time.
Mm-hmm.
Should be. Gabe the Babe in the chat says, afternoon, gents. I've lost Fields at QB, but want to hold him. Understandable. I have Watson, but considering dropping him for one of the available QBs on the wire, Geno Smith, Matthew Stafford, Jordan Love. I would take all three of those guys and their mothers before I would even think about holding Deshaun Watson at this point right now. This is a weird situation here with Watson. Cleared, cleared medically. Just he's not into it right now, not available on the media. And so I'm looking at these three guys and saying, yeah, I would definitely use any of these guys and drop Watson. Now the question is how are we ranking them?
Yeah. I mean, to me, Matthew Stafford has looked good, but the statistics don't really back it up. But now he's got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. I kind of lean Stafford. I'm not going with Love. Love has been trending the wrong way. It's either Geno or Stafford for me, but I kind of lean Stafford. Geno has a great matchup this week, though. So
Geno's does Jordan Love, actually.
Oh, yeah, because he's got the Broncos. but Geno's got the Cardinals.
But Geno's got the Cardinals. I mean, yeah, we're back at that again. Geno, who has probably the most punchable face in all of football right now, especially after the way he performed this past week. I think if I'm looking at this and I'm saying, do I want to add this guy and just leave him on my roster the entire rest of the time, use him until Fields comes back? I'm investing in Stafford. Then I'm going to say Geno. Then I'm going to say Jordan Love. That's how I'm going to rank these three quarterbacks for this week and for moving forward.
Yep, I'm fully on board with that, man. Chat, let us know who has a more punchable face, Geno Smith or Daniel Jones. I think that's going to be a close one.
That is definitely going to be a close one there.
Geno's actually had his face punched by a teammate, which, you got to factor that in.
Yeah, but I'm also willing to bet that they both have just been wildly punched in the face, and it just hasn't been,
less reported.
Yeah. Let's see. Gabe the Baby says he also plans to drop the Saints D for either the Browns or the Steelers D.
The Browns defense is available?
Yeah.
Brother, man. Dude, go for the Browns, pick them up, and then set them and forget them for the rest of the season because they already had their bye week. They just faced probably their hardest matchup rest of the year with the 49ers, and they've only allowed up like 1,000 total yards of offense through the five games they've played, which is like unheard of. It's the only team that's ever done that. Browns, man, I'm willing where I have them to just leave it. Right? It's the fact that they had their bye week is beautiful. But
I would take them, add them, and just not even look back.
Right. Colts. Here are the next games: Colts, Seahawks, Cardinals. So you're obviously starting for them. The really tough ones. The only tough ones really are the division games. If you consider those tough, Ravens and Steelers. I mean, they got the Broncos on here. They got the Rams. I mean, Jaguars are pretty good. Bears, Browns, Jets. And then the very last game of the season, which doesn't matter for fantasy football, is when they face the Bengals again. Like that schedule, Browns are my number one rest of season defense, no question.
There you go. Hal's in the chat. What's up, brother? Malik Cunningham, Will Levis, Malik Willis, PJ Walker. He needs two of them. He lost Fields and Richardson. Yes, you're definitely dropping Richardson because he's done for the season. And I'm fine just letting him go. Out of this crew here, I mean, PJ Walker is the must for me.
It's gonna be Malik Willis too, because like Malik Willis is ahead of Will Levis on the depth chart.
He's playing, right? He was in there.
I think he's gonna play. Good God.
So gross.
But you got to do what you got to do, man.
Gross.
So, the way you have to rank it is first and foremost, whoever is starting this week obviously goes first. So as we get closer to the week, it's like if Peach is starting and Malik Willis isn't, then if Peach is the only one starting, you rank him first. After that, you can get into it. But I mean, you couldn't possibly pick up Cunningham or Will Levis on speculation alone before that. There's a world where Malik Cunningham was added to the roster to play wide receiver. He played wide receiver in the preseason. He returned some kicks. It might not even be him next man up. It might be Bailey Zappi.
All right. Gabe the Babe says, drop Claypool and pick up Fournette. I would.
Yeah, for sure. Pick up Antonio Brown while you're at it. Like those guys aren't even in the league. any of them. I think
yeah, but I mean, a speculative pick on Fournette versus Chase Claypool. Listen, I know that you've got a hard on for Chase Claypool,
right.
all right, like you do for Dalton Kincaid. But this dude is now playing with Miami, and you're talking about Waddle, you're talking about Tyreek, and you're talking about a running game that is absolutely flipping dominant.
Right.
Like,
No,
what is
I'm
Chase
off
Claypool ever going to do that you're going to start him?
I'm off Claypool now, and the big reason is that just in general, even if they were to say you're the wide receiver 3 and you're going to play every snap available to the wide receiver 3, because they use the fullback Alec Ingold for so many snaps, literally half the game. How many snaps even is that? You know what I mean? Like the wide receiver now plays like 20 snaps, so there isn't even a role for Claypool. There's not even a role there.
This is a teaching moment. Look at you.
Look at that. We all learned something today. We all learned how wrong I was drafting Chase Claypool. I had one very deep league where I looked at my lineup a couple weeks ago. It's a best ball, so I can't do anything to the lineup. I've got like Chase Claypool on there. I've got Fournette on the team, and I also have Corey Davis on the team. So I got easily the most players on my roster that aren't in the league.
That's so gross. Yeah. So grimy.
What are you gonna do?
Ann Dunn's in the house. What's up, Ann? How are
you?
Get to see Ann always in the Better Cast. That's always a lot of fun. She's in the Man Smart Woman Smarter League. She's totally kicking ass. Short bench issue. Yeah, me too. I'm just kidding. Come on. Javonte and Pirine as the handcuff with the mess in the Denver backfield. Can I drop Pirine to pick up another running back? I think you can. I think that we've seen the fact that if Javonte Williams isn't playing, that it's more Jaleel McLaughlin than it is Samaje Perine, whose role, like you just said before, hasn't changed at all, like Gio Bernard.
I was digging through the rubble like we were talking about, Howard, and to be honest, when I looked at it, they used Javonte in his role, and they used Jaleel in like half of Perine's role. Perine's role got really diminished. Like Perine, when we were talking about digging through the rubble, I could just barely grab his hand, and that's it. Like Perine is on the way out. He only played like 9 snaps this week, so Perine's in big trouble. I think they might actually just straight up like Jaleel more than Perine.
Probably.
And I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't.
I don't either.
Here were the snaps. Snaps this week were 21 for Jaleel McLaughlin, 18 for Javonte Williams, and Samaje Perine played 9. So yeah, Perine can go.
All right. Hal says Bajent is there in his league as well. So it would be Walker and Bajent would be the 2 guys that you pick up way before you even pick up Malik Willis. I think so. I mean, at least then you're locking down the Chicago quarterback situation, right? Yes. So you know that if you have to have a guy, you've got a guy.
Yep, 100%.
Is Coop taking tomorrow off to celebrate Dalton Kincaid's birthday? Are you, Coop? Are you taking a personal day? You taking some PTO for Dalton Kincaid's birthday?
We're going out to dinner. I have the evening off, so yeah, we'll go out to a nice little steakhouse, and we're going to Dawson Knox's house to egg it. That's what we're doing. And I'll tell you what, the interesting thing with Dalton Kincaid is that he turns 24 tomorrow. I mean, Kyle Pitts is still only 23. If Dalton Kincaid's got to start getting it going where we took him in Dynasty, because
you're just gonna get raked over the call. I'm actually calling my buddy over at Fantasy Receipts, and I want him to just pull every single one of your Dalton Kincaid takes.
I think it's a full article. Yeah, pull him up. Pull him up, dude. Honestly, every time I get retweeted by Fantasy Receipts, I get a couple more followers. So I kind of love when they throw me.
When they jump on you.
Yeah, oh my God, it's funny.
So I'm scrolling through Twitter after I sent out a tweet the other day, and I saw your post, the 2 of us. Can we collectively just say, listen, Logan Thomas, who knew? Come on. It was a great spot for him. It was a great thing. I tweeted out me. It was me strutting into Monday with more Logan Thomas is a lock takes. And it was Kevin from The Office, dropping his chili.
Dropping the chili, dude. Yeah, I think mine was, can Ron Rivera please tell Logan Thomas to stop embarrassing me in front of my friends? But now I'll tell you what. Here's the thing, because I had people on Reddit too. They were like, "Oh, great call on Logan Thomas." You know what I mean? But show me one analyst. Show me one single analyst this week that came out and said, "Hey, I'm fading Logan Thomas this week." Like the stars were aligned, conditions were perfect. People either said he's a good start or they said nothing. But if you can find me one person that said, I'm benching Logan Thomas this week and here's why, then you know what? That dude deserves a high five or that lady deserves a high five. But I didn't see any. I didn't see a single person being like, you know what? This is a bad spot for Logan Thomas. Sometimes you can do everything right and still lose. That's I think it was Captain Picard from Star Trek that said that. so there you go, dude. There you go.
Oh man.
What are you
All
gonna
right,
do?
what else do we have here? Here's a big one here. Drop Jahan Dotson for Curtis Samuel, Romeo Dobbs, Deontay Johnson, or Wandale
Oh,
Robinson.
yeah. Well, you're definitely dropping Jahan at this point. The question is, to me, I like either. Do Wandale's look really good? Wandale's look really good. If it's full PPR, especially, I kind of like Wandale. But Deontay Johnson also has. I don't see why the upside for Deontay Johnson isn't similar to what it was before. So I think I still have Deontay than Wandale. What do you think, Howard? Every one of those players that's available is better than John Dotson for me.
Every one of those players is definitely better than Jahan Dotson for me as well. If I had to pick,
Curtis,
you think Curtis Samuel?
you can make arguments for all of them.
You could make arguments for all of them. You know, Deontay's coming back. I don't know what his share is going to be like immediately. Wandale, I don't even know if Daniel Jones is playing this week.
I know,
So
yeah.
I can kind of back off on him. Dobbs is in a nice spot this week. I don't think they're only going to give him one target throughout this game this time around. But I mean, listen, I think Curtis Samuel going up against the Giants, you know, they give him like the jet sweeps. He does the work over the middle
every week. Yeah.
Pops into the end zone.
If the player is anywhere near your lineup, then it's Curtis Samuel. But if we're talking about your last bench spot, use it on Deontay Johnson.
Yeah. Okay. That works. All right. What else we got going on here? Hal says Kenny Pickett's got the most punchable face. Okay. We can, listen, we can just kind of put this under, we'll like collect names and then we'll throw out like a poll on Twitter or something like that. Gabe
was right there.
What's that?
He's right there.
Gabe's third in waiver priority. Should he use that waiver on one of the QBs or on the Browns defense? I'm using it on one of the QBs.
Yeah.
That's a bigger priority for me than a team day. Absolutely.
Yeah, putting claims for all of it though. Just go crazy and try and get everybody. Like if I'm putting one claim in, I'm putting a bunch in. And
don't forget to make like contingency picks. And by that I mean you're dropping one guy. Let's say you're dropping Anthony Richardson. All right. You put in a claim for Stafford, drop Richardson. You put in a claim for Geno Smith, drop Richardson. You put in a claim for whoever the third QB is, you drop Richardson. That's how you set up the contingency picks because that's the way the computer does it. It's amazing how like few people actually know this information, which I always found incredibly interesting. I mean, maybe I just take it for granted because I'm in this industry, but you know, you got to set yourself up with contingency picks to make sure that if you don't get that guy with your priority, that you have stuff set up to at least, you know, help yourself out a bunch. So I would do that.
And do the same thing, Gabe, with the defenses. So you don't want to play Saints this week, then put it in, drop Saints for Browns, and then put it in again, drop Saints for Steelers, like you were talking about. So you might want to play the Saints against CJ Beathard. So maybe just drop Saints for Browns. That's what I would do, and then just play Saints anyway. Yeah, what a crazy week! This week's gonna be wild, dude.
What do I got? Callum Stores. I've been around the world a couple of times. Are you singing Gum Trees to me? All right, that's a song. Give me a home among the gum trees. Why are you singing to me, Cal? Is that Twitch?
That's a Twitch gang, dude.
Sorry, here we go. My bad. I wish we had known that you were going to be posting some lyrics in here. We probably would have like played the song a little bit for you and got going with that. With that, Bob Brown, the writer of the song. Give me a home among the gum trees.
I don't know that one.
You
Sounds
know what?
delightful, though. Sounds
Why don't
delightful.
you type it into the YouTube and you can check it out.
I'll check it out after the show.
Gabe the Babe says Daniel Jones has a face of a guy who says, "Do you know who my father is?" Very, very punchable. Yeah.
Oh
Right?
my
That
god.
immediately that's immediately putting him ahead of the rankings over Kenny
That is
Pickett for
him.
me right now.
Yeah, like that is the guy. Like my dad is right, and then like him and Mac Jones both get on the same bus because they have DUIs, right? Like that's that that's that crew. Daniel, so sorry, I don't know if Daniel Jones has a DUI, but he has that kind of DUI kid face.
He does. He does. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Chris Alves says rather speculate on Kyler Murray than anyone else not on a roster.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but I'm still, I mean, if you're talking about the possibility of Fournette, now the rumor was that Fournette was visiting with the Bills. Not happening. Tom Pelissero has already, spoken out against that, but he is also saying that there are teams that do have interest in him. So with the way that the running back economy is right now, and the quarterback economy recently now has taken a bit of a nosedive. I'm not going to lie, but I'd still take I'd rather take a more speculative ad on Leonard Fournette than I really would Kyler Murray, because I don't think he's A, that great of a quarterback. B, I don't think he's got the heart.
Yeah. And also people have to remember the Kyler Murray that we saw was on a team that was not only competing, but they had their back against the ropes. Cliff Kingsbury was about to be fired. That's when you trade for DeAndre Hopkins. That's when you go crazy. They had to win games or he was going to be fired. And then he did get fired. And now this current team doesn't care about winning games. They've released DeAndre Hopkins. So Kyler Murray is walking back. Like he was driving a Lamborghini and now he's hopping into the Honda Civic with the, it's lowered all the way down like everyone in Rhode Island where you can't even get over the speed bumps. So it's pretty rough, man. It's not going to be the Kyler Murray from before. And also coming off that injury, no chance he runs the way he did before, right?
Yeah, that's, again, people holding out hope based off of name recognition and what somebody did pre-injury. Very rarely. I mean, we were having that conversation, as decent as Dak looked last night against the Chargers, you have to remember that it's the Chargers defense, which is absolutely atrocious. He's not the same guy that he was before he broke his ankle, like not even close to the same quarterback that he was before that happened. We've seen that time and time again with a number of players. So that's something to be very, very wary of and just very careful. We'll get back to the chat here in just a second. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors for today, the Underdog Fantasy Crew. What's up, Underdog? Appreciate everything that you guys do. The contests are absolutely fantastic. We are locked into their Pick'em contest on a weekly basis. They have not yet posted who the gimme is this week, who the higher than half a total yard is going to be. I'm sure that's going to come out soon, but get yourselves over to Underdog. Go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use that promo code ALARM, and they're going to match your first deposit up to $500. They have not told me yet that they are not doing the 500 anymore. They're still doing it. Make sure you make that happen. fantasyalarm.com/underdog, promo code ALARM, instant match deposit, first time $500. Coop, while we wait for the the higher than half a yard player to pop in there, the gimme, let's warm everybody up. Give me a pick here for this week.
Yeah. Before we get to that, just want to say, Tackle Monster did it again, Howard. The Tackle Monster came through. Josie Jewell, 9 tackles last week. A lot of tackles on Travis Kelce. So,
dude, I did it with Cody Barton on Sunday.
Yes, dude. And it's fun, isn't it?
And then we did it with Damon Clark last night as well.
That it's fun bet, man. It's like just rooting for that. Get him. So I love the Tackle Monster bet. My first one that I'm doing here is the anti-homer pick. I am a Patriots fan, but I look at Mac Jones, man, and we talk about outs here. Mac Jones already been playing poorly, and the last few games, he's just barely hitting 200 yards, right? So they're setting his line against the Bills at 195, right? And I think, first of all, I don't think he's going to get that in the first place. Second, you look at quarterback injuries, and that's on the table for getting the out on the lower. And then I also look at the fact that he's been benched 2 of the last 3 games, and that could get us an out. So yeah, Mac Jones and lower on 195 is an easy one for me because there's 3 ways that you can get there, and one of them is just him playing the way he plays, right? Like if he plays the whole game, he might not have 200 yards. So yeah, give me the lower on Mac Jones.
I like that. I like that a lot. We always look to target defenses that have specific shortcomings, and I don't think there's a bigger shortcoming than the Giants' defense. I don't even have to get specific, do I? I really don't.
That was my first thought. I scrolled through and I was like, where are the Giants? Right. So.
Listen, they might have had a rock solid game against the Bills this past week. Beautiful, wonderful. Mazel tov. They got gashed by Miami running game. Kenneth Walker beat them up the week before that. Christian McCaffrey torched them the week before that. James Conner beat them up in week 2. So the Giants' run defense, not strong at all. I don't know where exactly it's listed in DVOA, but the second most rushing yards per game allowed, 147.5, 9 rushing touchdowns. Brian Robinson, baby, give me him. 56.5 rushing yards. I'm going to say higher than 56.5 against this porous Giants D. So Mac Jones, lower than 195.5 passing yards. Brian Robinson, higher than 56.5 rushing yards. Pair those up or bundle those up with whatever gimme higher than half a yard QB they hand you this week, and win some money over at Underdog Fantasy. Again, fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Promo code ALARM gets you an instant match on your first deposit, $500.
Wish I could go back and sign up again. That's not even the promo I got, dude.
I know, right? I got my $100 deposit.
I got $100,
like $100 match, and I was like, yeah.
Which is pretty good. Honestly, that's fine. Of course it is. 500. I mean, come on, man.
500 is a different story.
Yeah, I would have used it too, for sure.
All right, back to the chat here because the waiver wire questions are abundant. Even Ernie Acosta, our illustrious producer, thank you, Ernie, using the chat for his own gain here. Who are you spending more FAAB budget on, Brandon Ayuk or Puka Nacua?
Guillotine. I was going to say, how are they available? But yeah, those are guillotines, man. Puka team probably didn't think they'd be on the chopping block, but I think you got to go Puka. Just the way that offense is operating right now. Crazy high snap consolidation. They're willing to just use the same 11 guys every play. We know that, we don't know who the running back's going to be, but it's going to be Higbee, Tutu, Kupp, and Puka. And they basically just tell Tutu, they say, hey, why don't you go take a lap and just send him deep downfield to take some safeties with him. And they just dump it right underneath. So yeah, Puka Nacua, he's pretty locked in.
All right. Chris Alves says Ayuk would be a monster game if he didn't start the game 1 for 6. Well, yeah, of course. Do I go get tight end? I'm assuming that's Michael Mayer from the Raiders on waivers before he wakes up. I think he kind of woke up a little bit this past week.
Yeah. So here's the thing for upside, for the highest level of upside, there are 3 barriers for the young guys. First, you got to become the starter over the incumbent guy, which he just did that this week. He played way more snaps. Second is that you got to be a full-time route runner. He hasn't done that yet. This second hurdle will get us to where he can be a tight end 2, back end tight end 1. He needs to be running like 80% of the routes, 70 at least. He ran 66 this week, which is just okay. And the third one for super high-end upside, he probably needs a injury to Devontae Adams or Jacoby Myers to get there. But we want these ascending guys. So if you're looking for guys to stash, go with the young guys that are getting the new role. Michael Mayer, Trey McBride, those type guys. But I don't know if you can bank on starting him this week. I don't know, Howard. It's a decent matchup. Are you willing to go there with the start for him? If Eddie Jackson's out again,
I mean, it depends on who his current tight end is. It depends on who his current tight end is, because again, I'm not going to, Mayer's a guy who I'll happily stash on the bench and see what happens, but he's not going to be a guy I'm just automatically going to throw in there. We don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be. Yes, there might be a lean on the tight ends if they go to like Aiden O'Connell, but you're still dealing with Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams as the 1-2 punch. And the matchup here screams Josh Jacobs this week anyway.
Right. Yeah, for sure. exactly. So yeah, if you have room for a second tight end on the bench, then do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't go crazy.
Smokey the Cat in the house. What up, Smokey?
Smokey,
Trying to sneak in a little trade talk here. I don't mind doing
we'll
that.
allow it.
Give Smokey, right? If it was anybody but
I
Smokey,
know.
like, I mean,
Smokey should know better though.
if this was like Scampers or Hal or Dustin, I'd be like, piss off, kids. But
Shut
this is
up,
Smokey
dude.
the Cat.
Yeah, I will say Smokey should know better, but we love you, Smokey. So what's the question?
He even says, I know today is waiver show, but
Okay,
I
so he
just
did say
received
it.
the trade.
Okay, yeah.
Give Godwin and Jameer Gibbs to get Puka Nakua.
Nah, I can't do that.
Yeah,
and we're down. We're not high on Gibbs, but you still gotta keep Godwin and Gibbs.
Yeah. Javier Delgado also trying to sneak in a little trade talk here. I traded Cook for Pittman. Is that a win or a loss? It's an 8-man league, non-PPR. He's got Brian Robinson, Eckler, Spears, Kyron Williams as his running backs there. So I'm assuming this is trading James Cook for Michael Pittman, which I think is a win, but yeah.
Assuming that's if this is a 8-team league, I'm assuming that B-Rob is Bijan Robinson. In which case, yeah, I'm liking it.
Either way, I mean, B-Rob and Eckler, even if it was Brian Robinson and Eckler with Kyron Williams, well, Kyron Williams is, banged up right now, and we'll see what happens when he comes back. It's the only reason why I'm leery to give up some running back depth, but
Pittman's just been great.
Pittman's been rock solid. Rock solid. Mm-hmm. Howdy, Britt. No high fives for me. You had them everywhere. Boop.
There you go, Britt. Love you.
Better tight end pickup here for Herms. Njoku, Freiermuth, or Musgrave?
I mean, Freiermuth was rough already, and
great matchup though this week.
I know, but Deontay Johnson's going to be back, isn't he?
I don't know.
Is he? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I still like Njoku. His usage has gotten better from early in the season. Oh man, no Deshaun Watson. Dude,
Watson.
This is
which I don't mind Njoku.
This is the week from hell.
I love Musgrave's matchup this week. I really do. I was just putting together the watch list and was actually writing up Green Bay on their offensive front. If they can get Aaron Jones back, right, coming off the bye week, this is just a great situation here for everybody on Green Bay actually.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. All right.
All right. I think it's going to be Musgrave. If Watson plays, it's Njoku. But I think it's got to be Musgrave. Then go Musgrave.
I don't think Watson's ever playing again. I think this dude is going to try and take the money and run.
That'd be sick.
Hal wants to know, drop Keaton Mitchell or Malik Cunningham in that 14-team Superflex. Yeah, I'm fine dropping Malik Cunningham because you know what? I'll tell you why. Because even if he gets the starting job, this is not an offense that I want to invest in at all. And I would play anybody over Malik Cunningham in that Superflex spot. I'd play a tight end in that spot before I'd start playing Malik Cunningham.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Malik Cunningham, the upside for him is to become like Terrell Pryor after he was a quarterback, when he was a wide receiver.
Can you even say upside and Terrell Pryor's name in the same sentence?
He had that one garbage. The Browns were tanking and they just had no one else to. Yeah. Catch rate was not good, but I don't know.
I gotta tell you, your knowledge of football from 10 years ago is amazing.
That was when I was in my prime. I don't know.
You're talking James White. You're talking Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, we're in there, dude. Yeah, I don't know what's going on now. I have no idea what's going on right now, but I got a encyclopedia knowledge of 7 years ago. Yeah.
Hal says my kicker and tight end are on a bye. I'm adding running backs and dropping them on Sunday to figure out tight end and kicker later. Yeah, I would too.
Do it, yeah.
I would too. No problem. Let's see. What a gift, FA with Bender on YouTube and XM at 5 p.m. Aw, thanks, Anthony.
Bender all day, baby.
Oh, he says, and of course, Cooper all over the YouTube.
I'm out here flying around.
You guys can hear Coop with me coming up over the next 3 weeks, just so everybody knows. Over the next 3 weeks, Jim Bowden is on assignment. So Coop and John and Pemba and Britt Flynn, they're all going to be co-hosting with me throughout. I'm flying solo tonight's show, but I got Impemba with me on Wednesday and Friday, and then the week after that, Britt and Cooper mixing in. The week after that, Britt and Cooper mixing in. So, and then you guys catch me and Coop every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. All right, we do Alarm Fantasy Football Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. Boom, we're right in there.
Right through. I love the schedule we have now. Even just the afternoon shows where it's like Monday stats, Tuesday waivers, Wednesday trades, Thursday lineups, Friday bets and matchups. We sprinkle Fridays when you sprinkle all the bets in, all the prop bets, right? You know, do a couple DFS lineups. So it's like, man, we got this locked down for you guys, man. I'm loving it.
Seriously. I mean, it's amazing. Like Monday through Sunday, everything you could possibly need or want, we take care of at Fantasy Alarm. If you don't have a subscription to Fantasy Alarm, I mean, you can go to fantasyalarm.com/win, sign up for the monthly. But here's what you want to do. You want to go to fantasyalarm.com/lock. Use the promo code LOCK, LOCK. All right. And that'll take $100 off the annual. So you pay $187.18 up front. But what that does is it breaks it down. If you break it down over the course of a year, you're getting Fantasy Alarm content, everything for $16 a month. It's usually $40 a month, $16 a month. So make that early investment for yourself. Lock it down for the next year. fantasyalarm.com/lock, promo code LOCK. Takes $100 off of that subscription and puts it at $16 a month for you. So don't want to miss it.
Get you the rest of baseball, all of basketball, all of hockey, all of NASCAR, and it takes you all the way around to your NFL drafts next August, dude.
So next year's draft guide, next year the first 7 weeks of the season. Oh, and I got to give a shout out to Mike Iannone, our MMA guy.
Crushing right now, dude.
This dude's taken down like 4 GPPs in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Howard, is that I'm jealous because we put together the playbook and you know the DFS articles and stuff, and it's our readers that usually win, like Millionaire Mike. Mike is taking these down himself, right? Like our readers are winning, but he's personally taken down like 2 of them in the last couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, why don't you rub that in? That I haven't nailed down a GPP this year. Thanks,
Coop. Dude, I remember Millionaire Mike's lineup was literally just like your playbook with like a small tweak.
Yeah, 100% what it was.
Would you win like $40, dude?
60.
Nice.
Let's see. Patrick G Mafia in the house here. What do we got? So offering Matt. Oh, it's like look a little like trade talk. Patrick again. Let's shove this to Wednesdays, but we'll talk about it now here. Offering Madison and Addison for Jefferson. The Jefferson owner is 1-5. I'm 4-2, so I can afford the roster move. Madison, Mike Williams, Madison Reynolds, Josh Reynolds. I'm assuming that's on the table too. I would prefer to do Madison and Wilson or Reynolds for Jefferson if I could.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind. And I would even say this. I would do Madison, Wilson, and Reynolds. All for Justin Jefferson if you could do that. Before I would offer up Addison. I would try to avoid trading Addison in there just because you know that he's going to, be catching a ton of passes over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you don't want I actually wouldn't do the Madison Addison one. I wouldn't do that one. And I'm on board with trading for injured guys that I think are going to come back. I know our guy John Impemba is he has a 0 policy. He would say no to any Jefferson trade, pretty much anything, because he's right. We haven't seen a lot of times where these guys are supposed to come back and they never do. But I'd be willing to definitely do any combination of Madison, Wilson, and Reynolds. I don't know about the Madison Addison one. Would you do that one, the Madison Addison one?
I mean.
If they're both on your bench,
probably not. But I mean, I wouldn't be completely against it because if you're getting Jefferson, you're doing it because you feel like you've got enough depth at wide receiver, and then you're never going to be starting Jefferson and Addison at the same time.
That's actually a great point. So if Addison is like your wide receiver 3 to 5, then do it.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Ridley or Amari, rest of season? Well, again, C-Dog, you don't want to be thinking rest of season, right? Think about today. I mean, unless you're like 6-0 or 5-1, then you can think about rest of season. But right now I'm going to lean Ridley over Amari only because I don't know who the quarterback is for Cleveland.
And if he's ever going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Smokey's been loving the live pick'ems. He's hit a 5-pick for $500 this past week. Smokey, you're a man, dude.
There you go, Smokey.
You're a man.
There you go.
How would you rank to roster versus to start? Here we go. Jaleel McLaughlin, Jordan Mason, Craig Reynolds. Reynolds is number 1 for me.
Yeah. If you're starting a guy this week, it's Craig Reynolds. And honestly, Jordan Mason, man, I mean, Shanahan is the hot hand. We call him hot hand Shanahan for a reason. So Jordan Mason might be the next best start right now. So honestly, if I had to rank them, it would be Reynolds, Mason, McLaughlin. I think Javonte Williams is going to take his job back.
Yeah. What do we got here? Saints, Jaguars, or pick up the Raiders defense? Raiders got the Bears this week. Saints and Jags facing each other. We do not know about Trevor Lawrence yet.
I'm not going to start the Jags against the Saints, but the way I'd rank it is Saints with no, that's why we usually think about these ones on Thursday when we get more info. But the Jags and the Bears might be without their starting quarterbacks, in which case
we're getting a report here from Britt Flynn that the Bears are signing Trace McSorley. It's either him or Tyson Bagent.
It doesn't matter who it is. The Raiders become a decent start this week. So that is telling us that if you want to play it safe, then I would add the Raiders, because if they're signing Trace McSorley, that tells us Justin Fields is not playing this week. Whereas Trevor Lawrence might.
Scampers in the house here. Guillotine League probably won't have enough for Tyreek or Ecklebugs. How would you rank Mixon, Kamara, Adams? His starters are Mostert, Madison, Waddle, Olave, Hollywood, Godwin. So right off the bat, I'm prioritizing. I'm going to say Kamara, Mixon, Adams for me.
Yeah, that's it. Because you're going to start Kamara or Mixon immediately over Madison, right? Yeah. So they're going right in your lineup. I like all three, though. I still like Devontae Adams. It's just he needs his quarterback back.
Chris Alves making a really nice point here. October 31st, the NFL trade deadline. He's going to be adding Rashad Penny next week in case he is shipped. If you have that roster spot to do, make that happen. You never know. You never know. That's why I'm not dropping Zach Moss anywhere. How much FAAB do you put on Jordan Mason and Zach Evans? Oof.
If you have to start them this week, my rule of thumb, if I'm starting a player, I drop 20%. Kind of rule of thumb, unless I can guarantee that no one's going to pick the player up. But if they go right in my lineup, I always drop 20%, and I would drop it on Jordan Mason.
You would drop it on Jordan Mason before you dropped it on.
I mean, it's tough
on Zach Evans. I'm dropping it on Evans first because McCaffrey is still questionable.
Oh yeah, because McCaffrey might play,
and you still have Elijah Mitchell, who is a favorite there of Shanahan's.
That's true. Yeah. All right. I think
what is Britt Flynn's got 10 to 12% for Jordan Mason. What does she got for Zach Evans? Oh, just a low one here, right? 5 to 6% of the total budget. Britt Flynn, not
she's probably assuming she's probably doing what I just did and assumed McCaffrey's out. But you're right, he plays Monday, so we won't know. So if you got to play it safe, go Evans.
Yeah,
you make a good point, Howard.
Thanks, buddy. I try. Well, we're wrapping things up here. Let's see can I rapid fire this. Guy won't budge on a deal. Play one more Dobbs Reynolds. You know what, Floyd? Lineups. You don't do that on a Tuesday. You got so much information. It looks like we cleared the deck here. So
you did good.
I think we're looking good, folks. Thank you so much. As always, it's an absolute pleasure. You can find me and Coop tomorrow. We're going to be doing trade talk here on Alarm Fantasy Football. And that's it, man. That's it. Coop, any final thoughts?
That's it. Rankings will be updated today. Tight end will be out today. That's it from me.
Peace out. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.